Hello there, humans, bees, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough to be doing it too, I'm Bushka on Blitz, and I'm probably in New York right now. And if I'm not in New York right now, then bloody hell, what have I been doing that this is only dropping when I'm back home? I hope I've had a good time. I've probably been pretty exciting if I'm just getting back to New York right now. Anyway, this is the AMX 5120. Why am I showing you the AMX 5120? I'll tell you exactly why. Because I like bloody well driving the thing. And occasionally, you grubs, I just want to do a video on a tank that I want to drive. Not just because you want to see me drive the Waffle Tractor McWaffle Tractorson or the, the VK underscore I don't like this tank 39 OP. This is just me driving an autoloader in Tier 9. It's got an awful lot going for it, really, it does. Once you get past the concept of no armor, you can do good things. The chassis can bounce a few shots and stuff, but regardless, you'll see an awful lot of Tier 10, as you can see in this match. And you'll see an awful lot of that monster there. And that is the one that you should be most afraid of, because, my goodness gracious me, can it put some hurt out. But what I love about the 5120 is you've got exactly the same massive burst of the AMX 50B or the Type 57 Heavy. But you don't have the Tier 10 matchmaking, which is outstanding, dude. Because you have 1200 alpha and you have a very, very fast tank. You want to know how fast? Watch me absolutely knock the cream out of the middle of this Object 140. 503 damage at about 55 kilometers an hour with a very, very tubby tank and a strong chassis. That strong chassis is great for ramming. Think about this. The way ramming works is it's the heavier tank does better, right? But it's also about where you hit them and what you hit them with. And the only part of this tank that has any armor is the bloody pike nose. So you've got a big tubby tank with massive weight. Like, the thing is a heavy duty rock and roller, and it can go 50 kilometers an hour in a pinch. It's really, really mobile. So it's wonderful for ramming. If you get the opportunity, you should take a big long run up and spank. Now, as I said before, this thing is like driving an AMX 50B at Tier 9. And that's good, because the AMX 50B is bloody lovely. And this is a 60-ton heavy that can also run around at 50 kilometers an hour. And the traverse speed, when you've got all the bells and whistles on it, is 44 degrees of traverse just on your tracks. You've got 40 degrees of traverse on your turret. And you can get Tier 8 tanks like this when you get Tier 9 matchmaking, who are like, I'm pushing over here because I'm a medium and I've got good DPM, and you're like, thanks very much. Thanks for coming. You had 1100 hit points. I can do 1200 damage, and I can do it very, very fast. In 6 seconds, you can drop 1200 damage. That's amazing, hey. That is really, really amazing. And the AMX 50B is exactly the same in terms of damage. 6 seconds, 1200 damage. 257 millimeters of AP pen, 340 millimeters of APCR pen for the AMX 50B. You have exactly the same numbers on your gun in terms of penetration. So you've got this gorgeous gun with 0.341 dispersion and 3.5 seconds of aim time. You've got a great fast vehicle, and what more could you want? I think this is a criminally underdriven tank. It's got that Tier 10 burst that you don't get in the 57 Heavy line. In fact, you don't get it anywhere else. Like, the 57 Heavy and the AMX 50B can both rock out with some massive damage numbers because they have this 1200 alpha burst damage, right? 57 Heavy is even more amazing because it gets it at 2.5 seconds instead of 3 seconds between shells. But you get the same thing, and you're the only tank at Tier 9 that gets this kind of pump. No one else, right? You get a bigger reload time with those tanks, but that's great. Peekaboo, look at me. I'm not moving. I am waiting until I've got shots in the clip, and then I will go out and I will endeavor to put those shots into the bad guys. But until I actually have a shot, guess what I'm doing? I'm sitting at the back, reloading. And I think people don't realize that this is not a heavy... I've said this before, but I'm going to say this again just in case people are late to the party or they don't know a lot about the game. Blitz can be a little bit intimidating because it has a light tank, a medium tank, a heavy tank, and a tank destroyer. People see the triangle of a tank destroyer and they think, I'll sit at the back when you start the game. Like a tank destroyer, surely I've got a big gun, I'm meant to snipe a bit. And it's just, you've got Object 263s, you have FV215B183s. Those are two incredibly different tanks. They have incredibly different playstyles, but they're both tank destroyers. You have Borsigs, and at the same time, you have SU-101s. They are both incredibly different tanks, and they have incredibly different playstyles, yet they're both called tank destroyers. The same applies to heavies, lights, and mediums. The 54 lightweight versus the RU-251 is a different kettle of fish in the light tank range. The IS-7 versus the AMX-5120 is two completely different tanks, and yet people pigeonhole themselves because we're so desperate to label stuff into this is your role. And the heavy tank's role is to go to the front of the map, bounce shots, and intimidate and bully and use their hit point pool. But that's not the role of the 5120. Never has been, and hopefully it never will be. Because the reason I love driving tanks like this is the ridiculous peekaboo potential and the pure damage that they can bring to a battle. Your role in this tank is to look for targets that are, say, 1200 hit points and under, and clip them out. Your role is to clear guns. There is no other tier 9 tank that is as good as the 5120 at clearing guns off the battlefield. Now, I'll explain that completely here, right? I'll tell you why that's so important. You have a 400 alpha 120mm shell, hence the name 50-120, 120mm, 120 gun, 120mm shell. That's a big dose of damage. Everyone else in the tier can hit and they can have high DPM and all that kind of thing. That's all well and good. What you want to be doing is helping your team out by you can roll into an area with 3 250 alpha damage tanks, 3 250 hit point tanks, and you can clear all 3 of them, okay? The other thing is you can clear them in 6 seconds. You can do it fast. And that's a tremendous tool for your team. So you should be on the lookout all the time for low hit point tanks and don't just farm damage. Another great part about a tank like this in a tier 9 match, because of its unique nature and no one else having the ability to do this, is you can be an enormous deterrent. You're going to see there are a couple of tanks over there, right? This guy's going to get hit for 800 damage. And at this kind of range, we can bounce shots occasionally as well. You've got an oscillating turret, so when you go point it up and down, changes the angles in all kinds of weird ways, right? That IS-8 is not going to come back out here. He's going to end up going back towards his own spawn. Because you look at the distance that he's got to travel across now, and he's already lost 800 hit points. If he tries to push across here, he will get deleted. He is now a one clip for me. I could take his entire hit point pool out in 6 seconds, and I could do it by trading. The only thing he would be able to be sure of doing is putting one shot into me, and that would be 400 alpha, right? Average. And I could put 3 shots into him and completely take his hit point pool. So let's look at our job again. Our job description is clearing tanks. I'm going to roll over here at nearly 50 kilometers an hour, and I am looking for targets of opportunity. Not going to shoot that IS-3. I'm going to clear that guy there. It's less damage at the end of the day, but guess what? It clears a gun. So we have now done 551 to that bloke. We cleared a waffle tractor, and we put a shot in that T-32 that helped him get cleared as well. And a second ago, there was no tank in the position I'm in. We've moved over there, and we've just totally remodeled the entire face of this game in one clip. And then we clear a tank again. And then we're going to clear another tank. Like, we're just clearing tanks, left and right. 3 kills. I mean, this is what the tank does really, really well. And it is the only tier 9 tank that does it. No one else has a 400 alpha round like this. I'm going to show you one more game. And this is a higher damage game, much higher damage game. But for all that, it's not a particularly amazing game. But it's the perfect way to play the AMX 5120. And I'll talk you through it. So tournament teams run clippers, AMX 50Bs or Type 57 or 257s and such on this map all the time. They nearly always run a couple of them. And there's a reason for that, because there are so many opportunities on this map to get 6 seconds worth of damage in, right? Across flanks, or there's like the C cap area, the B cap area, the A cap area. There's a lot of broken areas on here, a lot of bits of cover and such, and that's great. And clippers can do that like no other tank can. They're built for it. The reason these tanks, and this is something I love about most of the time, the balance that Wargaming does. Like, I think the WZ-120 is a crap tank, because it pays for a 400 alpha round at this tier, which pretty much everyone runs a 400 alpha. There's so many tanks that run 400 alpha. There's heavies and TDs and such, and then there's also 460 alpha tanks and 640s and that, and there's so many 350 alpha mediums, so it gets 50 extra alpha damage for giving up all its gun depression, horrible penetration, and horrific damage per minute numbers. So what you give up with this tank is armor. That's good, because you have speed, and speed will allow you to put yourself in positions that armor doesn't allow you to do. And speed's more important than armor like that. And you can see it allows you to take 2 shots really, really quickly, and then 3. Look at the speed on that, going backwards and forwards, and then watch what I do. I don't have any rounds in the clip. I'm telling that bloke, it's 19 seconds. You've got 19 seconds to stay alive, and I absolutely will not be coming out until that 19 seconds is up. He's just fired, so I'm ready to go with the next shell. PTA is going to roll around. We clear him, and we're on up. Really hard thing to decide. You see I've got 2 shells in the clip? I've got to drive up to the top here. I'm not sure if they're going to be there when I get there. If they're not here when I get there, then those 2 shells are going to be really annoying, because I should have had more, but they are, so awesome. So I'm going to get both these shells off, which is great. Again, just hitting the right tank, and then I'm back, and I am recharging, and I'm not moving. I've had 3 engagements now with 2 clips. I've missed 1 shot out of 1 clip, so that means I've done 5 shots, which is about 2,000 damage on average. Sometimes you won't get that because one of them was a kill shot, and then I come out again. And this is that's just lazy on my part. There's no reason for that not to have gone in. That is just me being lazy. That one, yeah, that's the RNG. That's the side of a tank. Unlucky though, I should have done more damage there. That was, take your time, make sure it goes in instead of mucking around. But then I'm back out again. I will not be going forward. I mean, some people will start driving towards them. There's no need. You're a clipper. Your job is to dump damage into one target or clear a target. So if that's not happening and you don't have a target, then you move. But if you have a target and you don't have a shell, stop and reload. And like I was saying, this game is so indicative of the right way to kind of use these tanks. You've got speed and you've got the ability to clip out, and that's what I'm going to do here. I have no idea how we hit him from behind, take out a track, and don't actually kill him. That is absolute madness. I have no idea how that works. Watch this though. This is fun. This is fun. You saw me absolutely cream the Object 140 on this map. Here we're going to take the high speed jump off the top. Hello, IS-8. How you going? Yep, just going to ride you on in. Tap, tap, taparoo, baby. And that's the AMX 5120. It's a glorious tank. It's really, really, really good. If you know how to use it and you use it correctly, it can be a behemoth. 4,714 damage, 3 kills. Just really, really standard, solid, of fun. AMX 5120. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. I hope I'm enjoying myself in New York. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves in New York. I hope everyone's having a good time around the world. Can't wait to get back. Can't wait to kick in, feel refreshed and energetic, and get some new stuff done. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the videos. It really helps me if you smash that like button. Make sure to stick around and enjoy yourselves. Until next time, stay safe on the battlefield.